The greatest investment you'll ever make is the investment in yourself. And the sad thing is, most people never figure this out. They work hard all their lives, climbing someone else's ladder, never stopping to ask if that ladder is even leaning against the right wall. They focus on earning a living instead of designing a life. You know why? Because nobody taught them the simple truth I'm about to share with you today. Your formal education might get you a job, but your self-education will make you a fortune. Your self-education will determine your future. I learned this lesson the hard way. As a young man, I thought success was about working hard. And I did work hard. I worked so hard, I was broke at age 25. I remember sitting in my little apartment, couldn't pay my bills, asking myself, how could this happen to me? I was raised on a farm, taught to work hard, yet there I was, broke. Then I met my mentor, Mr. Shoaff. He said something that changed my life. He said, Jim, if you want to be successful, you need to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. That hit me like a ton of bricks. I'd been working hard my whole life, but I'd never deliberately worked on improving myself. From that day forward, I started my journey of daily self-education. And within 6 years, I went from broke to millionaire. Not because I got lucky, not because I found some magic formula, but because I committed to educating myself every single day. Success doesn't just happen. You have to make it happen. And that starts with educating yourself daily. Most people think education ends when school ends. What a terrible mistake. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. Formal education helps you make a living, but self-education helps you make a life. The question isn't whether you're educated. The question is whether you're educated enough for the dreams you have, for the goals you've set, for the life you want to live. Let me tell you something powerful. Your income rarely exceeds your level of personal development. That's why I tell people, if you want more, you have to become more. Success is not something you pursue, it's something you attract by the person you become. And how do you become more? You guessed it, daily education. Here's the magic of daily learning. It compounds. Just like interest in your bank account, knowledge compounds over time. Small daily investments in yourself add up to massive returns. Read just 10 pages of a good book every day. In a year, that's 650 pages. That's about 15 good books. Do that for 5 years. That's 75 books. Do you have any idea how that will transform your thinking, your skills, your opportunities? Listen to educational audio during your commute. The average American spends over 300 hours per year in their car. Turn your car into a university on wheels. In 5 years, that's 1,500 hours of education. That's equivalent to several college degrees. Take notes on what you learn. Don't just consume information. Process it. Write down the ideas that strike you. Review those notes regularly. This simple habit will multiply the value of everything you learn. The difference between where you are and where you want to be is the information you don't have and the skills you haven't mastered yet. And the only way to bridge that gap is through daily education. But here's the catch. Most people won't do it. Most people don't read books after they finish school. Most people don't attend seminars unless their company pays for it. Most people don't seek out mentors. Most people don't invest in their own growth. And then they wonder why their life doesn't change. I'll tell you why most people fail to educate themselves daily. It's not that they don't want better results. Everyone wants better results. The reason is threefold. First, they don't understand the power of incremental improvement. They want overnight success. They want the big breakthrough. They don't appreciate how small daily actions compound over time. They plant a seed today and dig it up tomorrow to see if it's growing. Second, they major in minor things. They spend hours on social media but don't have time to read a book. They know more about celebrities' lives than they do about business, finances, relationships, health, or any other area where knowledge could transform their life. Third, they've fallen for the myth that learning ends when school ends. They think education is something you get, not something you pursue. They see it as an event, not a lifelong process. Let me be clear about something. There's a big difference between formal education and self-education. Formal education teaches you how to make a living. Self-education teaches you how to live. Formal education is something you complete. Self-education is something you continue. Formal education is based on a standardized curriculum. Self-education is customized to your specific needs, goals, and dreams. In school, you learn what others think you should know. In self-education, you learn what you know you need to know. Formal education prepares you for the known world of today. Self-education prepares you for the unknown world of tomorrow. Now, don't get me wrong. Formal education is valuable. I'm not suggesting otherwise. What I am suggesting is that it's only the beginning. It's the foundation, not the house. You need both. Some of the most successful people in the world didn't complete formal education. Steve Jobs dropped out of college. So did Bill Gates. So did Mark Zuckerberg. But make no mistake, these are some of the most self-educated people on the planet. They never stopped learning. They just took control of their education. That's the key, taking control of your education. Not leaving it in the hands of institutions or employers, but designing your own curriculum based on your own dreams and goals. So how do you create a personal development plan? Let me walk you through a simple process. First, identify your goals. What do you want to achieve in the next year? The next 5 years? The next decade? Be specific. Write these goals down. Review them regularly. Second, identify the knowledge and skills you need to achieve those goals. What do you need to know? What do you need to be able to do? Be honest with yourself. Don't let ego get in the way. If you don't know something, admit it. That's the first step to learning it. Third, identify the resources that can help you acquire that knowledge and those skills. Books, courses, mentors, experiences. There are so many options available. But the world's best thinking is available to you, often for the price of a book or even for free online. Or create a schedule. When will you read? When will you listen to educational audio? When will you attend seminars or take courses? Remember, what gets scheduled gets done. Fifth, create accountability. Share your plan with someone who will hold you to it. Check in regularly. Report your progress. This simple step can double or triple your follow-through. 6, measure your progress. How many books have you read? How many courses have you completed? What skills have you developed? What knowledge have you acquired? Measurement brings awareness, and awareness brings improvement. Finally, adjust as needed. Your plan isn't set in stone. As you learn and grow, you'll discover new areas to explore, new skills to develop. Be flexible, but stay committed to the process of daily education. Now, let's talk about reading. If you're serious about educating yourself daily, reading must be part of your plan. There's no way around it. Reading is the cornerstone of self-education. You see, reading isn't just about entertainment. It's about transformation. It's about exposing your mind to new ideas, new perspectives, new possibilities. It's about challenging your assumptions and expanding your... When you read a book, you're having a conversation with the author. You're accessing their wisdom, their experience, their insights. You're getting the benefit of years, sometimes decades of their work, distilled into a few hundred pages. And the amazing thing, you can do this with anyone from any time period, from any field. You can learn from the greatest philosophers, the most successful business people, the most innovative scientists, all through... I read a study once that said the average American reads less than 1 book per year. Less than 1. And then we wonder why we struggle, why we're stressed, why we're not achieving our goals. Meanwhile, the most successful people in the world are voracious readers. Warren Buffett reads 500 pages a day. Bill Gates reads 50 books a year. Oprah Winfrey credits books with changing her life. Why is reading so powerful? Because it gives you access to the best thinking of the best minds throughout history and around the world today. For the price of a book, you can benefit from someone's decades of experience and wisdom. What a bargain! But not all reading is created equal. If you want to educate yourself effectively, you need to be strategic about what you read and how you read. First, choose books that align with your goals. If you want to improve your finances, read books on money management, investing, entrepreneurship. If you want to improve your health, read books on nutrition, exercise, sleep. If you want to improve your relationships, read books on communication, empathy, conflict, resolution. Second, read actively, not passively. Don't just pass your eyes over the words. Engage with the material. Ask questions. Take notes. Highlight key passages. Summarize what you've learned. The difference between reading and studying is the difference between consuming and digesting. Third, apply what you read. Knowledge isn't power until it's applied. The best book in the world won't help you if you don't put its ideas into practice. After you finish a book, ask yourself, what's the one thing I'm going to do differently as a result of reading this? Fourth, reread the best books. Some books are so rich in wisdom that they deserve multiple readings. I've read some books 5, 10, even 20 times. Each time I discover something new, something I missed before, something that's now relevant to me in a way it wasn't before. You know, it's interesting how a book can change as you change. The words stay the same, but your understanding evolves. You bring new experiences, new questions, new context to the reading. That's why the classics remain relevant generation after generation. They speak to the universal human condition, but they speak to each of us individually as well. I remember reading Think and Grow Rich for the first time when I was broke. I got some value from it. Then I read it again after I'd had some success, and it was like reading a completely different book. The principles hadn't changed, but I had. My ability to understand and apply those principles, that's the beauty of great books. They meet you where you are, but they don't leave you there. They challenge you, stretch you, push you to the next level. Finally, build a personal library. Surround yourself with great books. Make them accessible. Create an environment that encourages reading. Your library becomes part of your identity. It shapes your thinking in subtle but profound ways. But reading is just one form of self-education. Another powerful form is learning from mentors and successful people. You can learn from mistakes, but it's better to learn from other people's mistakes. Why stumble around in the dark when someone else has already found the light switch? A mentor can save you years of trial and error. They can help you see blind spots you didn't know you had. They can provide perspective that's impossible to get on your own. How do you find mentors? Start by looking around you. Who has achieved what you want to achieve? Who demonstrates the qualities you want to develop? Approach them with respect. Ask specific questions. Listen carefully to their answers. Not everyone will be willing or able to mentor you directly. That's okay. You can still learn from them indirectly. Read their books, watch their interviews, study their decisions and actions. You can also learn from peers. Join mastermind groups, attend conferences and seminars, participate in online communities. Surround yourself with people who are committed to growth and improvement, and don't overlook the power of paid coaching. Sometimes the fastest way to progress is to invest in professional guidance. A good coach can provide structured learning, personalized feedback, and accountability. You know, I often tell people that success leaves clues. The people who've already achieved what you want to achieve have left a trail for you to follow. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to make all the same mistakes. You can learn from their experiences, both positive and negative. This is one of the great secrets of success. Successful people learn from other successful people. They're not too proud to ask for help. They're not too stubborn to take advice. They understand that success is a team sport, not a solo venture. I remember when I first started in business, I thought I had to figure everything out on my own. I thought that was what being independent meant. What a costly mistake. I wasted years trying to discover principles that others had already mastered and would have gladly shared with me if I'd only asked. The key is to be humble enough to learn from others. Too many people let ego get in the way of education. They think asking for help is a sign of weakness. Nothing could be further from the truth. The ability to learn from others is a sign of intelligence, not inadequacy. Now let's talk about something crucial, implementation, because knowledge without action is just entertainment. I meet so many people who know what to do, but don't do what they know. They've read the books, they've attended the seminars, they have notebooks full of ideas and strategies, but they haven't put any of it into practice. Don't be that person. Be a doer, not just a knower. How do you ensure you implement what you learn? Here are some strategies. First, focus on application, not just acquisition. For every hour you spend learning, spend at least 2 hours applying. Don't move on to the next book or course until you've implemented key insights from the current one. This ratio is important. Most people have it backwards. They spend hours consuming information and minutes, if any time at all, applying it. Then they wonder why they don't see results. It's like eating without digesting. It doesn't matter how nutritious food is if your body can't absorb the nutrients. I had a friend once who was always taking the latest course, reading the latest book, attending the latest seminar. His bookshelf was impressive. His knowledge was vast, but his results were mediocre. Why? Because he never stopped long enough to implement what he was learning. He was always on to the next thing, the next guru, the next system. Meanwhile, I knew another person who read maybe one book a month, attended maybe one seminar a year, but he implemented everything he learned. He tested ideas, refined them, made them his own, and his results extraordinary, because he understood that the power isn't in knowing, it's in doing. Second, start small. Don't try to change everything at once. Pick the one idea that could make the biggest difference right now. Focus on implementing that idea until it becomes a habit. Third, create systems, not just goals. A goal is your destination. A system is your vehicle. For example, if your goal is to become financially independent, your system might include tracking expenses daily, reviewing investments weekly, and updating your financial plan monthly. Fourth, measure your results. What gets measured gets managed. If you're learning about health, track your weight, your energy levels, your lab results. If you're learning about business, track your revenue, your profit margins, your customer satisfaction. Fifth, review and adjust regularly. Implementation isn't a one-time event. It's an ongoing process. Set aside time each week to review what's working, what's not, and what needs to change. The biggest waste in the world is the gap between what we know and what we do. Close that gap, and you'll be amazed at the results. Of course, educating yourself daily isn't always easy. There are obstacles. Let's talk about some common ones and how to overcome them. The first obstacle is time. I'm too busy, people say. But here's the truth. Everyone has the same 24 hours. It's not about having time. It's about making time. It's about priorities. If you can't find an hour a day for self-education, find 30 minutes. If you can't find 30 minutes, find 15. Read during lunch. Listen to educational audio during your commute. Watch instructional videos while you exercise. Use the gaps in your schedule. The second obstacle is distraction. We live in the most distracted society in human history. Social media, television, email, text messages, the list goes on. These distractions aren't just stealing your time, they're stealing your focus, your ability to think deeply. Combat distraction with discipline. Turn off notifications. Set specific times for checking email and social media. Create a dedicated learning environment free from disruption. Guard your attention as carefully as you guard your money. You know, it's interesting how protective we are of our physical possessions, yet how careless we are with our attention. If someone tried to steal your wallet, you'd resist. But we let apps, websites, and media steal our attention without a second thought. And attention is far more valuable than money. You can always make more money, but you can't make more time. I once heard someone say, your attention is the most valuable currency you possess. I believe that's true. And just like currency, you need to invest it wisely, not squander it on things that return no value. This requires discipline. And discipline, contrary to popular belief, isn't about restriction, it's about freedom. The discipline to focus on what matters frees you from the tyranny of distraction. The discipline to learn daily frees you from the limitations of ignorance. The discipline to grow continuously frees you from the constraints of your current capabilities. The third obstacle is lack of motivation. Sometimes learning feels like work, especially when the subject is challenging or the material is dry. The solution? Connect your learning to your goals. Remind yourself why you're doing this. Visualize the person you'll become, the life you'll create through this investment in yourself. Find ways to make learning enjoyable. Join book club. Find a study partner. Reward yourself for meeting learning goals. Motivation comes from meaning. When you understand why you're learning, when you connect it to your deepest values and aspirations, motivation follows naturally. It's not about forcing yourself to learn. It's about aligning your learning with what truly matters to you. Ask yourself, what kind of life do I want to create? What kind of person do I want to become? What contribution do I want to make? Then ask, what knowledge and skills do I need to make that vision a reality? When you connect these dots, learning becomes not just something you have to do, but something you get to do. And remember, motivation often follows action, not the other way around. Don't wait until you feel motivated to start learning. Start learning, and the motivation will come. Take that first step, read that first page, attend that first class, and watch how your enthusiasm grows with your engagement. The fourth obstacle is overwhelm. There's so much to learn, so many resources available that it's easy to feel paralyzed. Combat overwhelm by focusing on one thing at a time. Don't try to learn everything at once. Create a clear plan and follow it step by step. Remember, you don't have to climb the whole mountain in one day. You just have to take the next step. The fifth obstacle is forgetting. Research shows that we forget about 70 of what we learn within 24 hours if we don't review it. Combat forgetting with regular review. Reread your notes. Teach what you've learned to someone else. Apply the information in different contexts. Use spaced repetition to reinforce key concepts over time. Now let's talk about the rewards of self-education, because make no mistake, the rewards are substantial. Let's start with the financial rewards, because those are often the most tangible. Your income generally reflects your value to the marketplace. And your value to the marketplace generally reflects your knowledge, skills, and problem-solving ability. All of these can be dramatically improved. Self-education. Think about it. What's the difference between someone earning $50,000 a year and someone earning $500,000 a year? It's not that the higher earner works 10 times harder. It's that they've developed knowledge and skills that are 10 times more valuable. The highest paid professionals, doctors, lawyers, engineers, executives, all invest heavily in education, both formal and self-directed. They understand that knowledge is currency. Did you know that doctors don't stop studying after medical school? They continue learning throughout their careers. New treatments, new diagnostic techniques, new research findings. They stay current. That's why you trust them with your health. The same is true in every profession. The top performers are the continuous learners. They're the ones who stay ahead of trends, who anticipate changes, who develop new skills before they're required. They don't wait for their employers to send them to training. They seek out learning opportunities on their own. Entrepreneurs know this too. They understand that business success comes from solving problems and adding value. And the ability to solve problems and add value comes from, you guessed it, education. Look at any successful entrepreneur, and you'll find someone who's constantly learning. They read industry publications. They study their competitors. They analyze market trends. They learn from their customers. They seek out mentors and advisors. They attend conferences and workshops. They never stop growing their knowledge base. Investors understand that knowledge is the best hedge against risk. Warren Buffett doesn't make lucky guesses. He makes informed decisions based on deep understanding of businesses, markets, and human psychology, all acquired through relentless self-education. Even in traditional employment, the correlation between education and earnings is clear. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, each level of education completion brings a significant bump in median weekly earnings. But here's what's interesting. The gap between formal education and self-education is narrowing. Today, you can learn practical marketable skills without ever setting foot in a classroom. Coding, marketing, design, writing, sales, leadership, all can be learned through books, online courses, mentorship, and practice. So if you want to increase your income, increase your knowledge, increase your skills, increase your problem-solving ability, all through daily self-education. But the rewards of self-education go far beyond the financial. There's the reward of confidence. When you know more, you fear less. When you develop skills, you develop belief in yourself. This confidence spills over into every area of your life. There's the reward of adaptability. In a world of constant change, the ability to learn quickly is perhaps the most valuable skill of all. Those who can adapt, who can learn new technologies, new methodologies, new ways of thinking, they will thrive regardless of external circumstances. There's the reward of independence. The more you know, the less you depend on others. You become self-reliant, able to make your own decisions, solve your own problems, create your own opportunities. There's the reward of influence. Knowledge gives you the ability to help others to lead, to make a difference. When you have something valuable to share, people listen. They seek your advice. They follow your example. There's the reward of growth. Humans are designed to grow. When we stop growing, we start dying. Self-education keeps you mentally active, engaged, alive. It fights against complacency, stagnation, and the slow death of potential. This is why some people seem to age more gracefully than others. It's not just about physical health, though that's important. It's about mental and spiritual vitality. It's about maintaining that sense of curiosity, that hunger for new experiences, new insights, new challenges. I've met 80-year-olds who were more alive, more engaged, more present than many 30-year-olds. What was the difference? The 80-year-olds never stopped learning, never stopped growing, never stopped asking questions and seeking answers. There's a certain light in the eyes of a lifelong learner, a certain energy in their voice, a certain quality to their presence. They haven't let life dim their spark or dull their edge. They've kept that childlike wonder while adding adult wisdom. It's a powerful combination. There's the reward of fulfillment. Few things are as satisfying as the moment when understanding dawns, when a new skill is mastered, when knowledge is successfully applied. These moments of clarity and competence are deeply rewarding. Think about the last time you figured something out, solved a problem, mastered a new skill. Remember that feeling? That's fulfillment. That's the natural high of growth. And it's available to you every day through the process of self-education. And perhaps most importantly, there's the reward of becoming. Education isn't just about acquiring. It's about becoming more capable, more aware, more alive to the possibilities around you. I've been blessed to travel around the world, to speak to millions of people, to counsel some of the most successful individuals and organizations. And I can tell you with absolute certainty, the quality of your life will be determined largely by your commitment to ongoing education. So I challenge you today, make the decision to educate yourself daily. Not occasionally, not when it's convenient, not when you feel like it, daily. This is a decision that will change everything. Not immediately, but inevitably, because decisions shape destiny, and few decisions are as powerful as the commitment to daily growth. I want you to think about where you'll be 5 years from now. Will you be in the same place, dealing with the same problems, earning the same income, living the same life? Or will you be someone new, someone better, someone who's grown in ways you can't even imagine? The difference will be determined largely by this one decision. Will you educate yourself daily? I can tell you from personal experience and from observing thousands of lives over many decades, the people who commit to daily education are the ones who create extraordinary lives. They're the ones who overcome obstacles, who find opportunities where others see only problems, who build wealth where others struggle financially, who develop fulfilling relationships where others face constant conflict. Make it a non-negotiable part of your life, like breathing, like eating, like sleeping. Because in a very real sense, education is nourishment for your mind and spirit. Start where you are, Use what you have. Do what you can, but start today. Read that book that's been sitting on your shelf. Sign up for that course you've been considering. Reach out to that potential mentor you've been thinking about. Turn off the television and invest that time in your growth instead. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. And the way to get better is through daily education. Remember, success is not something you pursue. Success is something you attract by the person you become. And you become that person through daily, deliberate education. The greatest investment you'll ever make is the investment in yourself. And the returns on that investment will last a lifetime. Thank you.